Hi, and welcome to the Weekend Playbook presented by Sports Gumbo. I'm your host, Jody Mack, and I like to think of myself as your guy coach every weekend. Here's what this show's about. It's the age-old question. How do you get your lucky lady in your life to sit down and watch football with you? Now, if she loves football, you're in luck. This is for the other guys. Maybe your lady's tugging your shoulder, trying to get you to spend your Saturdays at the Home Depot looking at linoleum and carpet and wall stuff. Or maybe they're trying to make you go antiquing. You know that the antiques will be there next week. They're old, they're dusty, that's why they're antiques. You want to watch the game. Here's where I come in. I'll be here to explain to you or your lucky lady why you should be watching the game, why she should enjoy it with you. So what are the reasons, the drama, the human elements of the games that go well beyond the X's and the O's and into the Johnnies and the Joes. So let's get started with the game plan for week 2 of the season. Now, the week starts slowly. This is what I want you to do. Have a nice breakfast, an early lunch, sleep in. If you have to make the trip to Bed Bath & Beyond, go early because you want to be on your couch for a couple of games that start at 3:30. The big one, of course, Notre Dame and Michigan. Two of the most polarizing programs in the country. You know, on one hand, you've got Notre Dame, Coach Charlie Weiss, and those annoying Subway alumni. I lived in Chicago for a while. I know how irritating they are. On the other hand, you've got Rich Rodriguez in Michigan. Now, I've had a grudge against Rodriguez for the past year and a half for the way he left West Virginia. This isn't about that. You know, both coaches enter this game, coming off big wins last week against pretty awful teams. So both need to be 2-0 to keep the Wolves that are calling for their jobs at bay. Only one of them's going to get it, one of them's not. You got to stick around and see which one does it, which coach deals with that stress, the pressure of the big game better. Brings me to my ballsy upset pick of the day, and it takes us to New Orleans. BYU visits Tulane the week after the Cougars knocked off Oklahoma in a very memorable game last week in Dallas. Now, BYU has Florida State next week, and every interview I've seen with a BYU player has them already looking ahead and past the green wave. This could be a tremendous trap, so you've got to watch this one. You know, Tulane is one of the worst teams in the country, but they play these kind of games tough. And keep in mind what will happen when those God-fearing Mormon boys from BYU find themselves on Bourbon Street, the French Quarter, and all the corrupting influences of one of my favorite cities in the country, New Orleans. I got married there. I can talk about it that way. Look for the BYU to fall into the trap and maybe, just maybe, get knocked off by Bob Toledo, give him his first big win as the Green Waves coach. You might want to keep an eye on Charlottesville, Virginia, where TCU, which another very, very strong mid-major BCS busting kind of program, looks to give Al Groh in Virginia another devastating loss. Now, last week the Cavaliers were knocked off at home by William and Mary. Not just William, Mary got into it too. So both of them really took care of Al Groh, put him on the hot seat. He's been there for about 3 years, and that seat's not getting cool anytime soon. So the folks are nipping at Al's heels at this point. Now, everybody in the night games will be talking about USC visiting Ohio State. You should watch that one too. You don't need the breakdown from me. You'll get that one from ESPN and all the other major mainstream networks. But one game I do want you to keep an eye on as well is Purdue at Oregon. Keep an eye on Eugene, Oregon, Outson Stadium. This is where the Ducks are playing their first game since LeGarrette Blount was suspended for the season for punching a Boise State player. Interesting to see how the Ducks respond to the loss of their senior running back. That's it for the Weekend Playbook for Week 2. Email the show at sportsgumbo@yahoo.com or follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/sportsgumbo. Thanks for watching. I'm Jody Mack, and we'll see you in the stands.